Recently, I watched an interview with the Blizzard co-founder Allen Adham. In this interview, he talks about the art of making a game that appeals to both casual gamers and also mid-core and hardcore players. There is a significant importance to making your game in this particular way, because why would you tap into one market when you can tap into all of them? Almost all Blizzard games are like this. You could play Overwatch ranked, or you could just not do that. You could play StarCraft against Koreans, or you could just play the campaign. You could join a mythic raiding guild in World of Warcraft, or you could just casually do solo quests. Currently I'm playing Diablo 2 and I can see that even back then Blizzard designed their games in this specific way. Later in the interview he says something interesting. He says that anyone can learn to play chess, but not everyone can master it. And yet both groups of people can have fun playing it. Another example from another AAA studio is God of War 2016. Playing the main campaign of the game is relatively easy and appeals to most players. But the Valkyries, well, they're not meant for the casual gamers. We can see this pattern of game design in almost every successful game, including indie games. Undertale is a great example. Make the main content of your game relatively easy. Add additional difficult content that only mid-core and hardcore gamers can handle. And the casual players don't get to complain because they get to play a relatively good portion of the game. Another important factor is to know the difference between difficulty and complexity. A difficult game is a difficult game, but a complex game is a game that pretends to look difficult and makes the casual gamer think that they are smart. A good example is Path of Exile. This looks super complex, but it's not. Anyone can handle this, but just like chess, only some people can master it. Making a game that is both easy and hard is difficult, but making it this way is crucial. Splitting it into multiple difficulties is one way to do it, but creating two separate pieces of content, in my opinion, is a better way, and I've seen this done in many ways. The best genre that allows developers to experiment with this is the roguelite genre. Not roguelike, roguelite. There is a massive difference between these two genres. Roguelike only appeals to hardcore players, and maybe midcore. Why? Because casual players only get to play the first stage because they are not good at the game, and they keep dying before they can reach the second stage, so they get bored and quit the game. But roguelite games allow you to get stronger with each failure, so you can keep playing and eventually beat the game. Roguelite is extremely casual friendly compared to roguelike, but you can design it in a way so it appeals to a hardcore player too. For example, you can add a mode where upgrades are not allowed. This makes it similar to roguelike. Or you could add heroic stages and also design achievements that only hardcore players can unlock. Later on in the interview, he starts talking about inspiration, and he mentions that one of the inspirations to World of Warcraft was Animal Crossing. And I could not have guessed that. It is important to know that inspiration should not entirely come from games that are within the similar genre to your game. Sometimes you should take inspiration from games that have nothing to do with your game, because that might translate into something new that players will end up liking. In my current game, I'm experimenting with both aesthetics and mechanics that are not entirely from the action-adventure style games. It's called genre mashing, and it's not entirely a safe thing to do because you might accidentally make something that nobody likes. But if you do try it, you might accidentally make something cool and innovating that no one else has done before. But inspiration comes in many forms. In the interview he mentions that sometimes movies, TV shows, and even the name of a restaurant can inspire you in a way that you yourself would not have expected. Which reminds me of Diablo. The game is called Diablo because the creator David Brevik lived at Mount Diablo. There are a couple other cool quotes from Allen in this interview, such as, "Know your audience and don't forget that what you're making is for your audience." Or, if you want to make a game company, hiring gamers is probably a good idea. And last but not least, he says that he's not a fan of prototyping because the world is full of prototypes that didn't work, and you can just learn from them instead of going through the process yourself. In other words, read and watch a lot of postmortems. I have one in my channel. Thank you for watching, link to the interview in the description. Bye.